Hello, all good people of the world. This is Paul Whittekind with my universal law of numbers, and the universal law of numbers is the only universal law of numbers, so it makes it a very important universal law of numbers because there can only be one universal law of numbers. Now, many of you may ask, well, what on earth is the universal law of numbers and 369 code, and why on earth should I believe anything of this sort exists if I've never heard of it? And I've never taken any classes on it in high school, elementary school, middle school, never saw it offered in college or in any university. But I might just kind of remind you, maybe, to review your senses, because it's very possible that I think you probably did perceive of it, did notice it, maybe shrugged it off from time to time as a curious coincidence, and just the way numbers maybe line up. But quite possibly you've noticed it yourself and you just never identified it as such or put your finger on it as such, which I think is common. It was like that in my case until I came across it. Okay, but anyway, whether or not it exists, I'll let you be the judge of that, because you can see that what I'm saying is this is a universal law, and the universal law is the cross, and that universal law is a law of mathematics, and this universal law of numbers obeys the 369 code. And by understanding the 369 code, you may have a better idea of what goes on, understanding of what goes on in the ordinary world of mathematics. Now, these 9 numbers, they're more or less a primal, universal glue that binds together mankind. It's in its the most primal sense, to make a civilization. Now, as far as understanding the 369 code is one thing, debunking it is another. Now, the 369 code cannot be debunked any more than, let's say, 1 + 1 = 2 can be debunked, and nobody is an authority to debunk it because it wouldn't be appropriate, because it's the universal law of numbers, which means it's created and comes from the universe, and certainly we're not authorized to criticize the universe. Okay. But even though it's a very deep and intricate puzzle and has many facets that can be explored your entire lifetime to try and understand it, in basic form, everybody can understand it. Because it's simple mathematics in the purest, most recognizable form of these arithmetic operations. So, you don't require any prerequisite or prior knowledge to be able to understand the 369 code. Everybody can understand it. It literally it's a representation of itself, being a construct of itself, not like a construct of what human beings do, theories that they have. Human beings have theories. Some of them are theories that, well, 97% of the people in the world certainly can't understand them, and they rely upon another, like, very small percent of people in the world who are so-called experts, and the smartest people in the world who confirm that, in fact, this theory is so, and we are going to accept it based on that. But this is not at all like that. Now, this is a law, it's not a theory, but you can have theories about it, and I encourage them. One theory you may have about it is it describes the universe. Well, that makes plenty of sense because it literally comes with its own name. The universe, or the universal law of numbers, it appears before you. It's the 369 code. It's got its name stamped all over. So it's important because it's unique. Now, if there were another 369 code, it would be the identical 369 code. It would be the same 369 code because there can only be one 369 code. And here it is right in front of us. Now, We don't have a higher authority than the universe for anything. So, but the universe is benevolent with us to the extent that it gives it to us, it's all right in our faces. So, even though we have it, we're calling it 3, 6, and 9, you know, it could have been called something else in the past. It could have been called something before there were 3, 6s, and 9s. It could have been called something else, well, it existed going back to the universe, the formation of the universe. So nothing is predating it, it's ancient. And I think ancients were more in tune with this than we are in our modern age. The cross works like this. All of these numbers are repeating sequences going in that direction and revolving. All of these lines do that. All of these lines going down 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times 3 times 3, 4 times 4 times 4, 5 times 5 times 5, to infinity, provide us these repeating sequences, which are the 369 code. We get, for instance, 248751. 248751. That's the 369 code. Okay. So they repeat going in this direction and revolve to infinity as well, because if you put a x squared on the square root of it, it's going to come back to the same number, and it's the number that counts and not the square root and not the sign. You know, for that purpose, it goes in that direction, this direction, this direction, and this direction. I call it a cross, and if you want to say it's sacred, I wouldn't disagree with you. And I try and teach people about the universal law of numbers, which has these 9 ordinary numbers up top. Now, the 9 ordinary numbers, I name them ordinary numbers because I use terminology that I make up, because there is no reference. There is no math textbook, there is no book at the bookstore or in the library. Online, if I look up Google search 369 code, I'm likely to get myself. So I do use some terminology. I call these the universal, well, the ordinary numbers 1 through 9, and they belong to the ordinary world of mathematics that everybody's so familiar with, the one that is conventional. And then we have these 54 numbers underneath, and that I refer to as the universal numbers, and they make up the 369 code. Now, add these up, it's 45, that's a 9. Add these up, it's 51, 54, 51, 54, 33, 54, which is 696969. Add these up, 6, 27, 54, 24, 27, 54, 24, 27, 54, 699, 699, 699. So that's a bit of a derivation of the 369 code as well. Now, that's an important point because the 369 code comes in all different kinds of derivations, but it should always be recognizable as the 369 code. So all of these numbers add up to 297, and that is a 9. And I introduced you to the concept that these numbers are somehow different to these numbers, and I can point out as they are because there are some similarities and there are some differences, and because of that, the laws that are being followed down here are a little bit different than the laws that are being followed up here, and the reason for that to point out is this. The whole premise of the Universal Law of Numbers code is that every number reduces to a number between 1 and 9. So it's going to do that, and it's that number. And I say it's that number. But that number, let's say it's the number we use, an easy one. 27 is a 9, 2 and 7 is a 9. Okay, so 9 divided by 3 is 3, 27 divided by 9 is 9, so we have a different number, so we have a different set of circumstances, so they have distinctions even though they're both 9. Okay, so we can understand that, and to get started, we can also understand that when we're subtracting a number, well, in the Universal Law of Numbers code, when you subtract a number, let's say 3 minus 9, well, it's going to go 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, 3 minus 3 is 9, and then 3 minus 4 is 8, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, so you subtract like that. So barring those differences, for the most part, basically, if you are multiplying or adding a number, you're always going to have the same result, because a 2 is a 2 is a 2 is a 2. What is it? They say a horse is a horse is a horse. But any differences that they have between them, or any laws that they obey that are different, does not make one either or other correct. They're both absolutely correct, and they just have distinctions and they have similarities. And this mathematics is the roots of that mathematics, and it's all the one same mathematics. So these numbers down here, they're basically acting very much as building blocks to create the numbers that go on up there, and if you view them as such, you will begin to understand what the power is of the universal law of numbers, because it's the whole universe of numbers. So that's the universe, that's pretty big, right? And the universe can get pretty small as well. And so that's the scale we're talking about. But we learn to look at numbers differently. So you look at that number, well, up here that's a 34. Well, right here there's an 18. Well, I'm going to tell you that that's an 18, and I agree with you as much as ever, but it's also the number 1 and 8, and the fact that the 1 is over here and the 8 is over here does not have the same meaning as it may up here. Because it's the proximity of the numbers and the way they combine, which is a necessary in order to understand these numbers and their inner workings down here. We're going to be having to combine those numbers to understand what goes on, because there is something to be understood about it. The fact that they're the building blocks. So there are some differences if we divide the number, if we subtract the number, but not when we're multiplying or adding the number. Now we'll look at the 369 code and see if we see it. We have 2 and 4, 5 and 7, 8 and 1. 6, 3, 9. We have 4 and 8, 7 and 8, 1 and 9. 3, 6, 9. We have 8 and 7, 4 and 2, 8 and 1, 6, 3, 9. We have 7 and 5, 4 and 2, 8 and 1, 3, 6, 9. We have 5 and 1, 2 and 1, 8 and 1, 3, 6, 9. 2 and 1, 5 and 1, 1 and 8. That's 3, 6, 9. We have 1 and 2 is 3, 4 and 5 is 9, 7 and 8 is 6, 1 and 5 is 6, 7 and 2 is 1 times 7 and 2 is 9, and 4 and 8 is 3, 6, 3, 9. So there's a little 3, 6, 9 coming at us, just to point it out that we're talking about the 3, 6, 9 code. I hope you can see that. We have the 147 code and we have the 258 code. And the 147 code represents a 3, and the 258 code represents a 6, and the 248751 code represents a 9. And that's how the 3s and the 6s become 9s. And 3 plus 6 is 9, 3 times 6 is 9. And we also have 181818, 181818. So that's another code, and that's a 9. And if we perform the arithmetic between the codes, we are going to receive the codes in return with the corresponding information that the code is giving us in that particular instance. But anyway, so 147741, 174471, 174, 174, 471, 714, 714, 741, 417, 417. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 1 is 1, 7 times 7 is 4, 4 times 4 is 7, 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 1 is 4, 7 times 1 is 7, 1 times 1 is 1. The 147 code. With 258 we go 258, for instance. We can also go 528, and we can go 258, and we can go 285 or 258, and we can go 258, 825, and we can also go 1 and 4 is 5, 1 and 7 is 8, 1 and 1 is 2, 7 and 7 is 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 2. That's the 258 code, and there's no problem with that. And what we're going to show now is just some of the internal workings of the program. The internal workings of the universal law of numbers. One of the things it does is it goes 1 times 2 is 2, multiplication. 7 times 5 is 35, which is an 8. 4 times 8 is 32, which is a 5. That's 285. 1 times 7 is a 7. 7 times 4 is a 1. And 4 times 1 is a 4. Now we have the 147 code. And about the codes, again, we don't care so much about the order of them because they're dots in space being connected. 1, 4, and 7. Okay, so 1 times 4 is 4, 7, 1. 5, 2, 8. 8, 5, 2. 1, 4, 7. 7, 1, 4. 2, 8, 5. 5, 2, 8. 4, 7, 1. 1, 4, 7, 8, 5, 2. And that's a 258 code and the 147 code. If we notice, we have 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16, is a 7. 5 times 5 is 25, is 7. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 4 times 2 is 8. 7 times 4 is 1. 7 times 5 is 8. 4 times 7 is 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 8 times 2 is 7. 1 times 4 is 4. 8 times 5 is 4, because it's 40. 8 times 8 is 64 is 1. 7 times 2 is 14 is 5. 4 times 4 is 16 is 7. 7 times 7 is 20 is 49 is 4. 8 times 8 is 61. Well, 8 times 1 is 8, I guess. Let's see. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. 7 times 4 is 28. 2 times 5 is 1. 4 times 7 is 28. 8 times 8 is 1. Same thing. You know, 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. And I think you start to get the picture. Okay, we'll look at some of these kind of relationships, because basically what we have are many codes, and I give you these basic codes, but in fact the whole thing is a code, and these lines going down are all codes. These lines coming across are all codes. All of these segments of these lines are all codes, in diagonal and everything else, in every direction. So it's all a code, but I show you the main codes because it kind of helps to kind of break it down. I mean, it's the 3, 6, 9 code. Now 3 different segments. Now you're already getting to, now we want to look, okay, so for instance, 1 and 4 is, 1 plus 4 is 5, 7 plus 7 is 14 is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4, 7 times 7 is 4, and 4 times 1 is 4. So they're the same in both of those respects. And this, and that will be like that, but 1 and the 1, 2 and the 1, 5 will not be like that, because they won't be the same adding them up, because they'll be the 3, 6, 9 code. We'll get 6, 9, 3, and we'll get 3, 9, 6. But otherwise, 1 times 4 is the same as 7 times 7 is the same as 4 times 1. 1 plus 4 is the same as 7 times 7 is the same as 4 plus 1. 1 plus 8 is the same as 1 plus 8, etc. 1 times 8 is the same as 1 times 8, etc. 1 times 7 is the same as 4 times 4 is the same as 7 times 1, because they're 7s. And 1 plus 1 times 5 is the same as 7 times 2 is the same as 4 times 8, which is 5. And 1 times 1 is the same as 1 times 1 is the same times as 1 times 1, as well as 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 1. And 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 5 is 20 is 2, and 7 times 8 is 56 is a 2. So they're the same in that respect. So we're beginning to see how we can understand it in terms of larger segments, because we will be able to build bigger numbers and understand what those numbers are going to be by understanding how the code works. But if 1 and 4 is the same as 7 and 7, and 4 and 1 is the same, then 1, 4, 9 is the same as 7, 7, 9 is the same as 4, 1, 9 is the same, 1, 8, 9 is the same as itself, 1, 7, 9 is the same as 4, 4, 9 is the same as 7, 1, 9, 1, 5, 9, 7, 2, 9, 4, 8, 9 are the same, 1, 1, 9, and 1, 1, 9, and 1, 1, 9, as well as 1, 2, 9, 4, 5, 9, 7, 8, 9 are the same. So we have things going on that show us the same. So if we kind of go like this, 1, 8, 9, 1, 8, 9, 4, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 4, 8, 9. or 119119, or 719, 419, 419, 719. What we're going to get is 419, 189, 719, 489, 119, 789, and twice. So they're always leaving us with some, it's always showing us some relationship. Now, we have a tendency to look at these things in terms of ordinary numbers and the ordinary world, but the ordinary world and the world of the universal law of numbers has its own distinctions. But anyway, as an exercise, we'll look at this. Okay. So basically, 8 plus 1, 7 plus 1, 9 plus 9 is 18. Oh, excuse me, just 1 second, I got things going on here. Nine plus 9 is 18, 8 plus 9 is 17, 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9, 17 plus 1 is 18, 18 plus 1 is 19, 44 plus 45 is 89. So we're talking about this 89 in this section, this whole thing. But 71 plus 18, that's going to be 89. 78 plus 11, that's going to be 89. 81 plus 18, that's 99. 88 plus 11 is 99. 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27. 18 plus 18 plus 18 is 54. 27 and 54. And that's not conventional, and I understand that, but I'm going to explain a little bit about it. We have 181 plus 18 would be 199. We have 111 plus 89 would be 199. So we have 8 times 1 is 8. We have 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 9 times 9 is 27, is 729. 729. 9 times 9 times 9. And 81 times 9 is 729. And 999 times 1 is 999, times 2 is 1,998, times 3 is 2,997. 999 squared is 998,001. 998,001. 998,001. Okay, but anyway, 71 times 9, that's 639. 41 times 9, that's 369. So that's the 369 code. Now let's look at this. 181 plus 818 is 999. 487 plus 512 is 999. 875 and 124 is 999. 751 and 248 is 999. 215 and 784 is 999. 157 and 842 is 999. 421 and 578 is 999. And like that. So that's 999. So we're not going to think about that only in terms of like just conventional arithmetic and the fact that coincidentally a lot of these numbers seem to like add up to numbers, 9 numbers we're familiar with. But basically all of those numbers in that exercise, what they were doing is all of those numbers are going to reduce to a 9 primarily. Some of them were reducing to an 8. And some of them were reducing to a 1 because they were hugging 9. It's explaining 9, and the lesson to be learned from that is more how when they all reduce to 9, then that arithmetic. Well, okay, so I think you will all agree that that was a demonstration of arithmetic. One that would appear to not conform by any stretch of the conventional imagination, or by any stretch of the imagination in conventional terms. But in fact, it's a lesson in something a little bit else. So in order to understand the universal law of numbers 369 code, one is encouraged to be combining numbers as such in all directions. However, when one is performing conventional mathematics, we may not be doing that, but we may be understanding at the time we're doing this conventional mathematics how those number structures are actually forming. And certainly understanding the 369 code is a very helpful bonus when you're trying to understand any mathematics, just like it's a very big bonus to understand the roots of Latin if one were to be studying Italian. So there's a very deep way to understand the thing, and the way you do it is you go to the roots of it, and you can decipher it from there, and you need to dissect it. You need to dissect the numbers. Now, where does all this lead? Because really in life, it's always good to have a purpose. I mean, a reason, what are you talking about? What are you trying to prove? Why is it important? And basically, for me, it's important because of this. We all agree we didn't have the 369 code in formal education. And for that matter, it doesn't even exist. But once again, I tie the universal law of numbers code back to nature, back to the universe. And when we're talking about Fibonacci numbers, we know things universal scale about Fibonacci. We know things in the scale of what is a law of nature. So Fibonacci is very prevalent in nature, and that's no secret, and we see that, and I agree with that. And what this does is the universal law of numbers code makes it possible for us to understand that when we see these Fibonacci numbers, we're going to have this. That's what that combination is. It's 339, 669, which is obviously the 369 code, and it has the 248751, and it has the 818181, and it's got the 258, and it's got the 741, so it's got the whole thing, and it's repeating to infinity, and it's basically a repetition of those numbers. And even if we start from the first number, the second number, or the third number, it doesn't even matter, it still gives the same code, but it shows how it's moving. So there's the Fibonacci code. Now, when I look up Fibonacci on Wikipedia, good, I get diagrams of, maybe different websites talk about the galaxies, they talk about the plants that all use the Fibonacci sequence, etc., the hurricanes, etc., and I can understand that, and I can get a grasp of that because I see the spiraling. Okay, but when it comes to the mathematics of the whole thing, officially, this is what that mathematics looks like. So it's just the mathematics that 97% of the people in the world do not understand. And that's what the problem is that I'm pointing out. And I'm also very much pointing out that if we understand the universal law of numbers, that we will immediately see the codes, and that we will understand how the Fibonacci numbers follow the universal law of numbers, 369 code, and belongs to that code, whereas the universal law of numbers is the mother code. It's the universal code, where Fibonacci numbers are very important numbers, and they're found in the code. And if we do the Bernoulli numbers like that, that's just, sometimes you have to do things a little bit differently. You really do. Well, you have to recognize what's there, and you just go with it. And that's all I do. For instance, with E, Euler's number, this is Euler's pyramid. And if I reduce those numbers, I get the 248751 code. And I don't think it's a coincidence. The same thing applies to all of these numbers. They can be found in the 369 code because that's where they come from. Now, it's the primordial soup, so to speak. Okay, so it's just, I'm offering you evidence that this 369 code is not just some fancy multiplication table or something like that. It's actually a universal law. And I'm going to leave it with that today. I hope you've learned something. My name is Paul Whittekind. I'm checking out. I'm wishing peace and happiness to all the good people in the world.